Hello and welcome to IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live conversation web television. This is one portal where all of you can join us with your thoughts on the conversations that we are having through your audio comments, your video comments, your posts. You can also join us the conversation as we speak live, and of course send us your tweets at #IndiaPostLive and @IndiaPostLive. So for all those of you who were skeptical about the new style of governance that Mr. Narendra Modi might be bringing in, let me give you some information. The BJP's communications cell will be spearheading a team of 87,000 netizens who are going to keep tabs on the governing machinery and ensure that all those promises that the BJP had made in its manifesto are being implemented. Take a look.
He may have little or no opposition in parliament, but Narendra Modi and his government will be watched over by a new set of group. The BJP's communication cell has come up with a novel idea of keeping the government on its toes. The group created by the BJP Information Technology Cell already has 87,000 strong members signing up in the past 2 weeks. They hail from backgrounds as diverse as business to former bureaucrats to homemakers. While the government puts its head down to tackle immediate issues like rising inflation and creating employment, this new group will monitor the performance of all ministries to ensure that they fulfill the promises made in the manifesto. Our netizens are finally turning watchdogs.
All right, so netizens turning watchdogs, that is our conversation now. Of course, you can tweet us on that, you can leave your audio and video comments, and you can participate on the portal, like I said. To take the conversation forward, right now with me, I'm joined in the studio by Vineet Goenka. Vineet is the national co-convener of BJP's IT cell, a very important man in this project. Of course, Vineet will tell us about that. I also have Ashok Wankhede. Ashok ji is, of course, a very senior journalist and always with insights which are as intellectually stimulating as ever in all our conversations. I also have joining me through Google Hangout from Bangalore, Vijay Grover. Vijay Grover is a senior journalist and also the founder of Bangalore Media Foundation. I also have joining me through Skype Aneet Kumar. Aneet Kumar joins us from Punjab. He joins us from Barnala. Let me first say hello to Vijay ji. Vijay ji, can you hear me? Mr. Vijay Grover, can you hear me? All right, we seem to be having an audio problem there. We'll try and get back to him as soon as possible. Okay, Mr. Grover, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, I can.
All right. Hi. Welcome to the conversation, sir. All right. We'll try and have that audio issue sorted out. First, let me talk to you. Tell us a little bit about this initiative. How did you come up with it?
This is all what happened with all of us in the last decade or 2 decades. We used to go through this civic book in Standard 4. Where they defined democracy as to be by the people, for the people, to the people. And then after that, 2 decades we were lost at where is this to the people and by the people and for the people, because there was nothing about people and we were seeing a couple of people deciding for all the people. So this couple of people for all the people became a norm of democracy. In the last 2 years where you saw social media taking over the regular traditional legendary way of communication in the political scene. Once the elections were over on 12th of May, and we were quite sure that we will come in. So the only thing was that how many numbers will be there and we will form the government. We thought, what would we do? Now, all of us will not go in the government. Some of them will be like me who would like to be there in the party and so. And what will happen to the dreams which we nurtured as a student or as a youth? So हमारी बात कहाँ सुनते हैं? So we thought, why not do one thing? Let us come together and put a ear to the government, a listening mode to the government. So the whole idea is to listen to the people. So the word watchdog will not be correct, but it is more like a ear to the government. So a common man can use tools of social media, write what they want, write what is there as a reaction, and then it comes to the cell, it moderates it, takes it along, And then a regular frequency sends this to the ministers concerned, saying this is what is going on in the social media. We are going to use technology to interpret this because the numbers are very high. So you can't physically read every post.
Absolutely, you can't.
So we'll have analytics been put behind this. But this will help us to reach masses, hear them out. And so before election, we were in the speak mode. We were in the interaction mode, where we were speaking, interacting when then somebody reacts on our speak. But now we are going to be on the listening mode. So the mouth is shut, the ears are open. And somebody rightly said, God has given you 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen double than what you speak. So now we are going to have that for 5 years.
So first you were speaking and now you're going to be listening. Mr. Ashok Wankhede, what are your first thoughts?
I am with Goel, as he rightly said, it's not a watchdog, it's a ear. Now the problem is that we have 2 ears and there is no wall in between. So 1 ear you hear and it should not go from another ear. It is being lot of government. It is not that the previous governments have not tried. They have tried various formats to get the feedback.
Yes.
Even during the manifesto, when manifesto was formed, or the vision document which Mr. Gadkari worked on, it was a feedback from so many people. But ultimately what it came out to be, it came out means I don't blame BJP for that. They have got their internal politics. One full page, all those controversial issues again came forward, like from common civil code to all those things. But of course that is a party matter. Let us not work on that. But basically, what we are as a common man is looking at, he is not looking at from where you listen, whether your policies are implemented or not. Basically, he looks at whether he is benefited or not, what you have promised and whether promise has been delivered to the last end. Now simply getting ear to the complaints and not solving a complaint will not solve a problem. There were Supreme Courts, strictures by Supreme Courts, strictures by High Court. Then there are so many, the media is continuously shouting. Like when last time I spoke to Amit Shah and we said, absolutely there is no opposition in the house now. He said, no, BJP has an opposition. You people are there. Media is there. So getting feedback from the media is also one of the source for the government to know whether their policies are implemented or not. Congress spokesperson, including the Vice President of the Congress, so-called Yuvraj Rahul Gandhi, used to regularly say that he knows things are not going well. He gets a feedback. Things are not doing well. But what has happened? That action has to be there.
So are you skeptical about the action of the government?
I am optimistic. I am optimistic.
Okay.
I mean, still for the last 7 days, if you see the way Modi has worked, and I pray only God for it, if it continues for another 5 years, it will be benefiting the country. But now same tempo has to be maintained. Whether we will be able to maintain the tempo or not, that we'll have to see. The first thing is inflation. All 87,000 members keep on giving you feedback. The vegetable prices are soaring up. What will government do? Will they listen or keep quiet or make sure that the vegetable prices come down? That has to be seen.
Yes,
and that vegetable thing immediately, already the inflation commission has been put, you know that there are things are going on and they're freezing the prices.
With all due respect, let me tell you, commissions, committees, foundations and projects, schemes, every government is being announced. Today the president's speech made 10 announcements of various schemes. I am happy. The intention is good. I am waiting for the result. If you say the Pradhan Mantri Sinchai Yojana, that the water has to go, it should not be like a Gujarat case where half of Gujarat is getting water and half of is not getting. It has to be full India to get water. Now providing water to all the farm is not an easy task. It takes another 20 years, even if you go by the speed which Modi is working. So it's a huge task ahead. So making announcement is easy. What I am looking is at implementation. Again I am making a point. I am optimistic because the way he is being working, let us go for that. But as far as this netizen is concerned, means I am happy that some innovative ways of getting feedback from the people, they have really planned well. But only I am worried that feedback has to result into a positive step by the government.
You know, the Citizen Circle initiative that you people have really designed, if I may use the word, you said that okay, people are talking and people have already started giving their suggestions and all of that, and 87,000 is in the first 2 weeks. I'm sure the number is more by now. But you know, how exactly can you, because what is really interesting is a few days back when Mr. Narendra Modi met the top bureaucrats of the country, He told them to talk to him directly. He said, don't worry, you just do your work. And he also told them not to talk to the media. So why is media the enemy? On one hand, you have a netizen Sena who is looking at what the government is doing, and on the other, the media suddenly is, the bureaucrats are being gagged from talking to the media.
Yeah, no, this is an incorrect statement. Media has not been gagged. What is asked is to use what is there in the service rules. If you go through the service rules, they are not supposed to talk to media for anything and everything. In the previous regimes, what is to happen is, before the minister concerned gets the draft of the bill or a proposal, media would talk about that, and the poor minister would land up reacting without knowing the details. So what he said is, we'll all have to work, and you don't have to do this through any other back channels. Earlier, bureaucrats used to talk to the ministers through media. Now here he has given opportunity to talk directly. He said, "Ki aap aiye, baat kariye, and let's identify what is good for the country." So this third-party talking system, and wherever somebody comes in the evening and says that the entire country wants to know about what is happening, the better thing is that the minister directly talks with the bureaucrats and this. And there is something called as gag and all. See, I'll tell you, to answer Ashokji's thing, now Ashokji knows me from my childhood, probably 2 decades he has brought me up. Kind of thing. So our intentions were always honest. Sir, in my college days also, you have seen me as a Vidyarthi Parishad student, and now also. Whatever I said, I think only thing which I have, the asset which I have is my words. I have never gone.
No, it's very commendable.
I don't have any notions about your intention. Your feedback will be too correct, and I'm happy that.
Can I talk about the feedback, please? Can I ask you one question?
Feedback. Now, your feedback, I am only worried about the man who gets the feedback and his reaction.
No, I'll tell you. I'll take it.
I want only the government to act on that feedback.
Yeah. How is the feedback being
See,
collated?
I'll tell you. It is let me before this tell you the entire philosophy behind it. There's a practice behind it.
Yeah.
The processes have. See, what goes wrong in a government, and what we found that whatever went wrong across the world, not only our economy but any other economy, any other country, is that they put in the systems wrong. What is government? Government can function by people, process and technology. And it should be in that order itself. First there are people, then there is processes, and then the technology. Governments mess up by putting the technology before process, before the people, kind of thing. Now, what we've done is, we understood this. Even if we said that IT cell will play a role, sir, we will bring this data in. There are tools available in the market which can collate and give us an exact analysis of that. Okay. So today I can sit here and say, out of the 87,000 people, how many of them have talked about the accidents which happened in a particular city. Okay. So now the moment I get this, I get a real-time data, and I can run this data bit period. I can run this on the basis of gender. I can run this on the basis of age, and also that he's a regular cribber or it's a one-time cribber. So there may be people who keep on sending suggestions every minute, kind of thing. Also. So we can tell. These are scientific tools which are available. And no big thing. A big data analysis is a simple thing which can be done. What we have done is, we have gone to people like Ashokji, who have got pulse of this country, and we simply said, "Sahab, ye 1200 लोगों ने ये लिख के दिया है. What is your say on this?" And the moment he has a certain intelligence over it and says, "This is the real fact." What we simply do is, because we know the ministers personally, we just draft a small email. There is no formal communication also involved. I pick up a mail and just write, "Sir, 1200 people has talked about this particular thing. I thought I should just bring it to you." And now you know that the NDA MPs, forget about the ministers, all the MPs are also using smartphones and they have gadgets. Their PAs have the gadget, their PS have the gadget. The moment the mail lands up into their thing, they know that this mail has come from the IT cell. They read it out. And once they read it out, they are aware of the problem. See, I don't blame the earlier ministers, be it NDA government, the first NDA 1, UPA 1, UPA 2, or the previous regimes. One thing wrong was the disconnect between the people and the ministers. I think this is one.
When you're talking about disconnect, can I just ask you one question?
Small point I have to make.
Okay.
I accept this. If you know a minister, you can solve the problem. Yesterday only, if you go to the Facebook, you see a senior journalist, female journalist, spoke to Piyush Goyal at 2:30 in night, saying that for last 4 hours there is no power in Chittaranjan Park. And he got that power installed, she got that power installed within half an hour.
Okay.
So, and she thanked Piyush Goyal on a Facebook. So, near about 10,000 people posted their comments on that, saying that, if you know Piyush Goyal, it's okay. At least give us numbers so we can also dial.
Simple. Today, I'll tell you, 125 crore people of this country will know Piyush Goyal's number. Just go to his Twitter handle. Okay, it's very.
No, but
so
wait,
what we've done is
another issue. Wait, you guys are missing another issue. What is the internet penetration in this country? It's 11%. If you go, so when
Can I
you are
answer
talking
this?
of these
Can I answer
1,200
it?
people,
It's old
of course
back,
you're going to
old
answer. I'm
back.
asking you this question.
Yeah.
When you have 1,200 people raising an issue, the netizens raising an issue, and when you are taking that issue to the minister, are you actually taking the voices of the real people, the ones who really suffer in terms of power, in terms of water, in terms of all these issues, are you actually taking their voices to the minister, is my question.
See, I'll tell you, I'm not answering your question directly, but you can
Okay.
understand this. 2 years back when we started on social media, everybody, the media and our opposition today, and then ruling party, everybody laughed at saying that social media is a toy of certain boys who are there and they play it. And we were trying to tell them that this is a serious thing. Okay. Even few weeks before the general election, I think everybody said that social media does not represent the entire country. Let me correct you all. When we talked about this 250 crore people, 12.5 crore people who have the smartphone and internet penetration, they represent almost all the segments of the geography. Today you go to the farthest place, he has a smartphone.
Yes.
2, this is not only communication. Please understand and hear it very loudly. This is one of the many channels.
Okay.
So you may choose to write a letter to PMO. You may choose to write a complaint to the Talati for this thing, and which will reach the PMO. This is one of the many mediums. See, any state, any country which adapts technology faster grows, develops faster.
All right.
So what do you see these developed economies like US, Germany or this thing? The only advantage which they have is they have adapted technology. What we are trying to do is reduce the gap between the digital divide which we have. 2, we are using this digital highway to understand the sentiments of the people, understand what they need. There may be cases yet, Ashok ji, where we may not be able to really reflect what the applicant wants to tell us, and we may not be able to service that. I agree to that.
Let me quickly get Vijay Grover from Bangalore. Mr. Vijay Grover, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. I can hear you too. All right. You have been probably listening to at least some of the conversation that we've had so far. It is about the netizen group, the people who are giving their feedback on governance and on issues like implementation of the manifesto. How skeptical are you, or how optimistic are you about this entire phenomenon that the Modi government has initiated?
See, one thing is very clear. I'm very optimistic about this entire thing, given the fact that coming from the IT capital of the country, one of the things that we certainly do look forward to is the fact that this is the technology that is going to reach out to people. Given against the mainstream media, if you look at the social media itself, it's reached 29% of the population in the country, and this is something which is a very, very sizable population, and is increasing rapidly at about 12 to 15% every year. So if you give it the given time frame, one thing is very clear, that the government will have to get onto the social media to be able to connect with people. In our own state in Karnataka, we have Sakala, which is the right to information version over here, and it's purely dependent only on social media and also on the email connectivity of the common man with the various departments in the government. So this is something which is only a logical extension, and that's what we look forward to, that if the Prime Minister of the country can drive this initiative and take it forward, it's only going to make the others follow. And we have a lot of public service departments, be it the railways, be it airlines, or be it anything else, where this kind of moves are certainly going to be the thing of the future.
Okay, Vijayji, do you think the Modi government is somehow trying to bypass the media? Because the media is something, which raises the voices of the people, and now people are directly talking to them. So, as the founder of the Bangalore Media Foundation, I'm asking you as a very worried journalist. Are you worried as a journalist?
See, as far as bypassing the media is concerned, this was expected as far as Modi was concerned. And this is something very media as far as elections were concerned, and he had to maintain a distance after coming to power. This was expected. But as increasingly we are seeing that social media is the thing which is leading the drive now. Mainstream media, if you look at even today, the English news channels constitute or reach only 1% of the population. And that's something which is very small compared to social media. And that's something where, the mainstream media will now have to learn to adapt to be able to keep pace with social media, to be able to take forward how it can reach people. And that's where we see that the mainstream media is trying to catch up. And let's see how successful they are.
All right, great. That's a very nice thought that you say.
Two points
surely.
One question you asked him about only 11% people, whether they are representing or not.
No, I do know that even in the...
I have an answer to it. My village, which is not even connected by a road in Maharashtra, due to hailstorm, the entire crop got down. I get a photograph on a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a phone. Now somebody has a WhatsApp facility, he travelled in that area, he took a photograph, he get it onto the circle, and ultimately it got to me. So the farmer may not be having a phone there or a WhatsApp facility there, but somebody has reported it. So that 11%, those 11% may not be from the sector, but they may report the problems of the others. Point number one. Point number two, about the media you are asking. Now let me confess, Modi has asked media to work. For last 15 years, we were just sitting, waiting for the stories to come. We were a well fertile land for plantation. People used to come, plant stories against each other, and we used to enjoy that, making sure that the fight increases. Today, Modi has told us to work. Still there will be stories, but we will have to hunt. We will have to work. We will have to read between, we'll have to follow Twitter, we'll have to follow Facebook, we'll have to get something out of it. So this time we will have to go to a barren land, make it cultivated, and then get the crop, instead of having a fertile land, waiting for somebody to plant the things and reaping the harvest.
As Vijay Grover and Ashok Wankhede is saying, Vineet, the entire dynamics of media is changing, right? And that is what you people are actually harvesting.
No, we are not. Neither we are harvesting nor we are contemplating on that. See, we see media to be a very strong pillar of democracy. And fortunately, our country has been a very mature democracy. We had 15 power transfers without a single bullet being fired. So we had prime ministers came in, they resigned, new prime minister took it over, and we never had any incidents of the same. Media has been there. Barring the 2.5 years of emergency, I think media was always given the due respect. That were the black days of emergency, when the 2.5 years we had a gag on censorship. Otherwise, I think all the political parties have a lot of respect for media. What has gone wrong, Ashok ji, is what the news traders, what Modi ji call. So a journalist like you will never have a fear of anything being available or not. But there are journalists who may not be in the same spirit what you do journalism. So these journalists,
let me bring in.
I'll just complete in 30 seconds. Probably so what was happening was that all these years there was one guy who was standing in between us and the people and trying to say that so you are saying so, and we were trying to tell him we are not saying so, please correct our stand. So social media has given us an opportunity as a politician to communicate what is there in our mind and in our own words. People are communicating with us in their own bhasha, their language, their anger. Don't think that it is always good things which are coming. There are abusive things also coming on the...
Before going to him, I have to make...
Can I quickly bring in Aneet?
Just before that.
Okay.
If you take the last record, Modi spoke to media more than Rahul Gandhi.
No.
See, so he is available to media. Point number one. Point number two, the Prime Minister in office for last 7 days has communicated on Twitter, whatever the tool may be. He may not have a regular media briefer or a media man who would tell the stories. He had given every bit of information to the media on Twitter. Only tool had changed. You compare these 7 days with 7 years of Manmohan Singh, and nothing was coming out of the PMO. So when nothing comes, you write your own stories on somebody's information, and that is how it is bad.
That's a point well taken. Let me bring in Aneet Kumar Mittal, who is joining us through Skype from Barnala in Punjab. Aneet Mittal, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me, Aneet? Okay. See, okay. Now all our guests have been, they're very optimistic about this whole netizen drive on governance. What is your view? Do you have any other view?
हेलो, ये एक अच्छा कदम है।
अच्छा कदम है, ओके।
न्यूज चैनल का जैसे आपने इंडिया पोस्ट शुरू किया है, जैसे फेसबुक है, व्हाट्सएप है, न्यूज चैनल को आगे खत्म ही हो जाना है, इसी तरीके से चलना पड़ेगा। गवर्नमेंट को जो चाहिए, व्हाट्सएप जैसे फेसबुक है और चीजों पे सब्सिडी दी हुई, पूरे 120 करोड़ भारतीय रहते हैं, वो क्यों नहीं चला पाते? आप ये नहीं समझ पाते ना, क्यों नहीं चला पाते? वो इसलिए चला नहीं पा रहे फेसबुक व्हाट्सएप, उनके पास पैसा नहीं है चलाने के लिए। गवर्नमेंट उसे फ्री कर दे, 1 GB डाटा या 2 GB डाटा कर दे, फिर देखो इलेक्शन का रिजल्ट क्या आता है,
Access
फिर मालूम
internet.
पड़ेगा।
Alright.
Very good point.
ठीक है ना? जैसे आप वो बोलते थे,
I'll answer it. It's very good point.
20 करोड़ या 30 करोड़ आदमी यूज कर रहे हैं व्हाट्सएप या फेसबुक, पूरे का पूरा 100 करोड़ हो जाएगा। आप सब्सिडी दें उस पे।
ओके, यू आर टॉकिंग ऑफ
उस पे एक्साइज आईडी जो उठा दे और मोबाइल सस्ता 3000 में क्या होता है? 3000 में एक व्हाट्सएप फेसबुक पर एंड्रॉइड मोबाइल आ रहे हैं आजकल।
हाँ, विनीत आपकी बात से बिल्कुल सहमत हैं। सुनते हैं विनीत क्या कहते हैं इस बारे में। विनीत,
मैं आपकी बात से बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ। एक तो जो है कि एक्सेस टू इंटरनेट और एक्सेस टू टूल्स ऑफ इंटरनेट, मेरे ख्याल से जो अभी जो है कि कई सारा पॉपुलेशन लेना चाहता है, लेकिन वो ले नहीं सकता क्योंकि ये बड़ा महंगा फोन्स होते हैं
टाइम ना।
और दूसरा है कि जो जिनके पास है उनके पास इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी बड़ी महंगी हो जाती है इसके अंदर। तो मैं आपको एश्योर करना चाहता हूँ कि सरकार इसके पास देख रही है। एक तो कि फास्टर penetration of internet, economical penetration of internet, and today. So today we have said, and
connecting every village with the broadband.
Yes.
And now let me tell you, the Patna has become total Wi-Fi now. So the Bihar, when we talk of Bihar, we talk of Bimaru state. But surprisingly, Patna has become a Wi-Fi city. So that is what.
So I think we should give the young man a credit to say that today's presidential address has mentioned about this. Ki we will see there are two big problems: the hardware problem, and second one is the software, the data connectivity issue. Hardware, mein we have been talking about it. Ki we are importing anything and everything. Today, the electronic bill is third in the priorities after the oil and this thing, which is crossing few $1 billion, which is very, very serious issue for us as a country. So we are talking about indigenous homemade technologies. We are going to promote phones which will be homemade, which will be cost effective, so that every man, women in this country.
Are you giving us some tips from the budget?
No. But this whole idea about it, see, I'll tell you, you will be surprised how many Indians work in Nokia, Samsung, LG.
Of course.
If you know that, maximum guys come from Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Indore, your own city. So these are the maximum people who have written telecoms. So if you go to all these companies of Sasuke and all, which are multi-layer and serious working, Intel and all, they are all people from Indore and RS. Fantastic. Kharagpur gives a. Now our talent goes out, writes a protocol, writes a patent, and they go on earning on licenses. See, this hardware is very cheap. This is the license fee, which is the royalty which goes on the patents, is very, very small.
So the 3G,
I think what the young man from Barnala, Mittal ji from Barnala should be congratulated कि आपने बहुत serious मुद्दे को touch किया. शायद आपकी भाषा में बोलने पे तो मैं I'll tell the viewers that what he has raised is a basic thing, that access to technology.
Right.
And we are committed as Bharatiya Janata Party to give access to technology for everybody.
Then the auction of broadband, 2G, 3G has to be again.
This is again a very contentious issue.
Because you want more money from that, those people who will pay more will definitely charge from the people. That is not going, nothing comes free. So either you will have to make it free, or you will have to go with the Congress government that they have not done anything wrong.
No, I'll tell you.
All right.
I'll answer him this thing.
Yeah, and
if
last
the auctions would have been done sincerely by the previous regime, we would not have come in the power. It is nothing to do with the cost. It is the intention and the truth involved in the system, and you will be surprised. All the entire
they say only 2G corruption charges got you to the power.
No, that is one of the start.
No, nothing. It is only Narendra Modi, his style of functioning,
but
his
you
way,
see his
your social media.
I will not be able, I will never be able to Ashokji's passion of speaking because he has been a journalist throughout his career. But I'll tell you one thing, a very serious point which I want to make.
Main point was this.
Yeah, was this. One of the. He started with corruption.
I'll answer the gentleman from Barnala.
Yeah.
If you see 2 days back, we have come out with an orders which is already in the press, is that all the defense deal more than 10 lakhs will
To
be
be
on
a portal.
Now,
Right.
what about this kind of transparency?
All right,
See,
so
कोई
we
discount-
are
I was-
moving
कोई
towards-
discount नहीं मांग रहा है.
No, that is the
That
first
will
thing
give
against
transparency.
corruption
Yeah,
that we did.
Yeah.
We
So
did
we are
spoke
moving
about.
towards, as Vineet says, and as Mr. Ashok Wankhede and Mr. Grover and Mr. Anit Kumar Mittal have pointed out that, you know, the way forward is to move towards transparency, and that is the only way for better governance. We have to wrap up the conversation at this point, but the conversation, of course, continues on the portal through your audio and video comments, your tweets and your posts. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Grover, for joining us from Bangalore. Mr. Mittal from Barnala, आपने जो point उठाया, विनीत ने उसको बहुत सराहा है
सबसे महत्वपूर्ण
और हाँ, उन्होंने कहा है कि गवर्नमेंट इस पे ज़रूर काम करेगी. Thank you so much, Mr. Mittal, for joining us. And of course, my studio guests, as ever, Mr. Wankhede and Vineet, thank you so much for joining.
It was always a pleasure.
The conversation continues.
Thanks.
Thanks.